Hey, my name is Chad. Welcome to this video. I wanted to go over a few things regarding the Kestrel. Once again, if you've been here for a little while, you'll know that earlier in the year, I was definitely having some issues figuring out my Kestrel along with my Vortex Fury binoculars that were linking to them. Discovered that error was most likely caused by the compass being off in the Vortex binoculars. Sent them off to them. They replaced them with a completely new set, and everything seems to be working great on that front. But over the last several months, I have done a lot more digging into the features and how to use this thing more properly. And I want to just go over some of the kind of tricks and shortcuts that I have learned and ways that I use this now that are greatly improved over how I was doing it before. Hopefully a couple of these tips will help other guys that are getting into it speed up the learning curve, because there is a lot to these little handheld computers and they definitely take a while to learn. So if you don't want to sit through the hours and hours of training videos, I'll hopefully show you most of the points that are good to keep an eye on and some of the tricks to jump around and use this faster. So to start out, I am using the Kestrel 5700 Elite, obviously with applied ballistics software added to it. I do not have the X. I believe one of the main features on the X is a faster processor. So if you're doing long range shooting, like mile plus 2 miles, you know, the ELR stuff, it can calculate those adjustments much faster than this one will. And I believe it has like a larger storage area. So this one will hold several sectors, and within each sector, I believe 10 targets. And I think that one just bumps the quantity of sectors up. You know, if I keep going to bigger matches, I may use that in the future, but I'm using the sector function on this much better now than I used to be. So one of the first things we need to talk about is the kit that they offer that comes with the little tripod. Now, for my first several months, I would not use this at all, and I found that was possibly some of my error. So one thing that I have noticed that is going to be a key to using this properly is to have it always in an upright position. So you don't want to be trying to calibrate, spin it, and hold it at any kind of an angle, forward, back, anything. It needs to be perfectly straight up. So what I have started to do is I keep the mount on this tripod. The only thing this tripod is used for is running a Kestrel. Okay, so you see we've got this little contraption here. Now what this does is allows you to put this plastic piece on the base of the Kestrel, and it does have a threaded mount where you can hard mount it in. But if you're going to use the weather vane like I do, I just leave the mount on the Kestrel and then pop it down in there, slide in the weather vane, and get your directional vane all positioned. So this will allow it to do just like that, move around when it has wind. Right now it's moving mainly because it is off center. So let me show you the key on here. All right, so that little bubble level right there is what makes all of this worthwhile. Okay, so when I'm going to use this at a match or out practicing, what I'm always going to do is first thing first, break it loose and get it so that the bubble level is centered up properly. And that way I know that the Kestrel unit itself is straight up and down. There's no side to side, forward and back. Nothing is going on with it. And then if I'm doing something important like at a match, I will go through the functions and go to use this as a time to properly calibrate it. To calibrate, you're going to use your function button right here. Going to go back, go down to System and Compass Cal, and then you'll go through that process, hit start, and I just spin it around slowly on here. You want to always go in the same direction. But anytime I'm slightly concerned that any of my numbers may be off a little bit, I go straight to here, do a calibration, and typically that gets things reset and ready to go. Okay, one thing I do to test it is the light button here, if you double press it, it'll take you to another menu. You can use the settings button to change what it displays. I have it set to give me the direction that it's facing, the wind mile per hour, and the temperature. So I just have a quick access to see what current temperature is. If I have the wind vane open, I can see if there's any breeze, and then I'll know the direction that the unit's facing. So typically I'll have a pretty good idea of where north is. So I'll kind of adjust it to north, make sure that everything looks close to correct, and then we'll go into using it as we need. So on the main screen here, we're going to want to come down to where it says environment. If it is on live, we want to use these arrows and turn it to lock. What I'll try to do is in between stages, I'll pop it over to live, let it update its settings, and then push it back over to lock. And then I will do my next calculations to get ready for the stage. Obviously, if you've used the Kestrel before, you know that when you are up at the top on your target or your wind, you can use the arrows to go to target numbers A, B, C, D, etc. But you're going to want to use these arrows. Come down to gun, make sure you have the proper gun selected. What I always do is before a match, I will verify my muzzle velocity in case I haven't done a good cleaning in between matches or temperature is considerably different than the previous match. I'll double check it and update that, and then double check that everything is still current below here. One thing is the zero height and the zero offset. If you shoot a group and it seems to have moved, you can come in here and tell it how high from your point of aim, and that's your zero height. You can go positive if it's high and negative if it's low, and you can do that in inches or mils. And then zero offset is going to be positive to the right and negative to the left. So if you have to make a quick adjustment and you don't have time to re-zero your turrets on your scope, you can use this to get it'll take that and add it into the calculation that it's going to show you for each target's elevation and windage. Next main thing that I have gotten into using is down here. We want to come to target card, and then we'll be selected up at the top. Go ahead and hit enter again, and that takes you into the sector menu. Now up here you can see that I have started naming these. So this is sector 16. To me, this is a stage at a match. So that was pyramid. So if we say we're getting ready for the prone stages at the last match, I can come over here to troop 1 and select that, and then I can jump out here and come back up to the top, and I have all of my 5 targets already in here with their distances. Now say they are all in a straight line from that target card. In the details page there, you can do target inputs, go to more, and capture all direction of fire. So if they're all in the same straight line, boom, you can just capture. And then once you've got it set, it has adjusted every one of those targets to that target direction. You can do the same with wind inputs. This is what I got used to doing now. If the targets are kind of bouncing around and they're in different positions, I will exit out of here, go up to the top, and I'll go to each target and scan it real quick, go to B, go to C. So I'll just go through all of them and set them manually for the target direction, but then the wind is going to be the same for all targets. So we can go to wind inputs, open everything up, attach our vane, and we can do a capture there. Now the trick on this is we need to go to capture, and at this point it is capturing the wind. And you can see it says in capture, you need to select and then hit continue. So you have to double enter at this point. That is very key. But once you do that, it will apply that wind to every one of these targets. We can go back up and see that we have a 11 o'clock 1 mile an hour wind, and based on the target direction, it is going to update the wind direction. So in theory, so far I've had good luck with this. But one of the main things is making sure that your targets are well ranged so that when you get the data put in, you're able to quickly get them updated. Now, it will show you on here, your elevation, and then you can change these to show you the range, ABCD. So you've got 4 displays here. You can see the range, you can see your wind adjustment 1, wind adjustment 2, your lead. So this gives you all of the sub data points in a smaller, closer screen. To me, I don't like using this just because I like seeing the numbers up here. And when I see them up here, I'm able to verify mentally, okay, does that range make sense with that elevation? And is that wind telling me I need to adjust my scope to hit to the right, but the wind is blowing kind of from the left to the right? Well, that's not correct, because that would just blow me off the side of the target. I need to have a left adjustment, so I need to go in and update something. Typically, when it does that, I have either not taken my target direction properly or not taken the wind reading properly. So one thing on this, you can go up to sectors, and I believe it has up to, see, 22. So if I want a new one, yeah, I've put 23 in here just for the sake of having places. I think I've got 21 is where I'm at now. I call it the Freedom Farm. So you can go in and name them. Now what I want to do here, we'll go say a new sector. We can go through the long process of changing every single one of these. If I get the data card or the like the stage plan for the match before, I will go in and update all these so that each sector is the name of one of the stages. So we'll just call this a test OR. So now we have our stage name. Now what we can do here is either go in to target inputs, and we can go to A, and we can, manually adjust the distance. Okay, so you can see we've got A, B, C, D here. It will just give the targets a name of A, B, C, and D. But if you go here to the first screen, you'll see we are only given A, no matter what we go back and forth. So you've got to go into target on the first screen here, come up to target, go to the next one, hit enter, and then it'll be active, and you want to tell that yes. Back, go to the next target, active, yes, back, go to the next, active, yes, back. So if you're going to do this, just make sure and go through, turn on all of your targets, and that will give them permission to be viewed here. Now, the trick on this is to use it in conjunction with the app. Okay, so when using the app, we're going to want to go to target card, and then we'll go to sectors. That is the list of them that you have already selected. I have one built here just called test sector, so you want to make sure and press on it so that it selects it with the check mark, and then hit the back button. I don't know how it works on Apple, but this is on an Android phone. Then we're going to go down here at the bottom, edit targets, and I'm just going to remove the numbers that are already in here because this is just a test. So we're at the first target. Say the first one is 549. Next is a 816. Then we got a 991. We got an 1185. And then our next one pushes out to say 1379. We're just making up numbers for now. So we have all those entered. Down here at the bottom where it says send targets, we can hit that. It asks if you want to do this. Are you sure? Yes. So the benefit of this is you can use your phone to go in and type in quickly all of the target ranges if you have the information beforehand, and build each stage as a separate sector into the Kestrel. So now it has sent all of this data here to the Kestrel, and you'll see that we have target A 549, target B 816, 991, 85, and 1379. So now all we got to do is go back to our target card, get our wind inputs. We want to capture that. Now we'll end continue. So it has now applied all of that wind to these targets. I'm going to say that, let's just do this for ease of use. We'll say all of our target input, direction of fire. I'm just going to go with a different direction so that we'll have some offsets back to the top here. So my wind, not enough to make a huge difference, but you see we've got 549, 2.6. That makes pretty good sense. At a 2.66, I would probably put that in at 2.7 on my scope. Next, we've got an 816, so I'd put that in as 5.2. Now, see, I don't like how off I am on this wind. So let's say our wind direction is coming from a totally different area. So there we go. So now we've got a pretty good crosswind with the 130 target direction and the wind coming from an 830 position. So that puts us at a 0.3 to 0.5 windage. This way has been much faster for me. And what I have noticed is being able to change stages. So now imagine, all right, we just shot this stage. The next one's coming up and I've already got it named in here. I can write down the sector number next to each of the stage names. So I can just find the number in here. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, say we're going to do chaos. So I've got the targets already input here with their ranges because I uploaded them all before the match. So I can go to each of the targets and I will take their direction. And then I will run back down to the target card, wind input, capture. We'll get a good capture, continue. And now I'm set for the stage. So compared to doing the old way of going in and having to select a target and then push the button to get to each of the individual ranges, that way took so much longer. This way I can just upload everything and have it ready to go and switch between as we go from stage to stage. That was one thing that was costing me a lot of time. Hey, do me a favor. If you like trying to figure out new ways to do things, go ahead and get subscribed right down below here. It really does help me out, and I am out here every week trying to learn new things, share it with everybody out there. If I can help you skip a few of the stumbles that I made, I'm very happy with sharing that kind of information with you. So that is some of the ways that I have kind of shifted around to taking data. Another thing that I have noticed is being anywhere close to any kind of magnets is somewhat of a problem. It seems to affect it when it's close, but if you get farther back away, it's not a big deal. The main thing I have a problem with is on my rifle, my data card is a metal card that's held on with magnets. So what I have done, another reason that I started using that tripod is it forces me to be at least that far away from my rifle. I can't just set my Kestrel on top of the rifle and hit buttons on it. So I've got to be further away from it. It just gives me a forced kind of air gap that makes sure that I don't have any magnets or cell phone. Really anything electronic can affect this. So you want to make sure when you're doing your calibration, you're far away from anything that could possibly affect the sensors in here. Now, when it comes to building your gun data, this is something that you definitely want to take the time and do it properly from the start. Even though at this point, I'm pretty confident in my load of ammo that I have worked up. I'm pretty confident that my scope is holding 0 and I don't have to worry about any of that. What I typically do before a match, either the Monday before, which is my last day of my weekend before my work week starts from Tuesday through Saturday, I will try to come out here and using the exact load that I'm going to use for that match. Shoot a small group. Doesn't even have to be a lot at that point, 3 to 5 rounds. If I need to make any adjustments, this is when I try to do it. But if everything looks good, I use that time to gather the speeds and update my Kestrel with that. If there has been a huge change in temperature, like say it was 70 degrees when I went and tested on Monday, and then the match morning comes and it's 35 degrees, I'm going to want to try and shoot another group if possible before the match starts, just to get a more current speed. I haven't noticed that it really affects a whole lot, being 20 or so feet per second off, but to me, anytime you can gather extra data and input that, it's always going to be more accurate than just guessing. One thing that you will learn using this and the app together is where they have what the BC is. If you notice on mine, it calls it 1.0. So that BC 1.0, that is the custom drag model, I believe is what Applied Ballistic calls it, CDM, custom drag model. So what they have done is taken the most popular long-range projectiles. For me, it's the Hornady 108 6mm, and they have done more testing than the testing that is used to calculate a G1 or G7. So to me, they are a slightly more accurate. Usually the first couple hundred yards, they're going to be close enough between 1.7 and the CDM. But once you get out to the closer to 1,000 and 1,000 plus, the custom drag model is going to have much more precise data given to you with the data you put into it, such as your muzzle velocity and checking the temperature, make sure that stays current. Everything like that does make a slight difference. So even the wind, speed, and direction will adjust your elevation adjustment slightly. So depending on how the wind is blowing, if it's pushing your bullet further faster, or if it's pushing against it, or if it has a strong right or a strong left, you can be having a difference in your elevation. So making sure to always get correct data is totally the key of this. I can pretty much guarantee that every single problem that I had with this over the last year was because I put the wrong data in, so I got the wrong data out. So it never hurts to just double check everything, even if you think you haven't pushed any buttons that could throw something off. Before a match, go in and just verify that all the numbers look correct and nothing looks like it is way out of whack. Sometimes if you're tinkering around with it, you might change a setting and not remember to go and put it back. So just before a match, make sure and go in to verify everything that's on here. If you have any questions, please let me know down in the comments. This is something that I definitely struggled with of the whole first year of me doing this PRS stuff, between trying to learn everything on reloading my ammo, learning the moves with the gun, how to hold it, how to get set up in a position, and then trying to learn this on top of it. It was entirely overwhelming, and I'm hoping that this will at least give you a few more tips. There is a lot more that this can do that I have not even dug into because I haven't seen the need for it yet. So you can get this even more accurate by doing a couple more tests if you have the space and the time and the ammo to burn through doing more tests with this. There's a lot of things that this little tool will do for you. The main key is making sure that you put good data into it, and it's going to give good data back to you. So please do let me know if you have any comments. If you want to see more details, if I missed anything that might be of interest to you, please let me know. I'm starting to get it figured out. I would love to help anybody that's having the same kind of problems that I was having for the first several months with it. Well, welcome to 2025. Here on the second day, we're going to try and have a really awesome year. The best way to do that is for you to come along with me, get subscribed, come out to the challenge day in the spring when I get that set. I'm working on getting some cool stuff together for it. I really want to have a bunch of people out here, have fun with it, try it for yourself. And if it goes well, I would like to do maybe another one later in the summer and try to do this at least 2 or 3 times a year. We'll see what the interest is on it. But it will be a fun day just to hang out, shoot the challenge, and then we'll come down to this area if you've got pistols and shotguns and things like that that you want to get out, shoot at an outdoor facility. We can have a kind of cool little range day here at the Freedom Farm. But that's going to be one of the big events of 2025. There's a lot more cool stuff that I've got in mind and things that will be coming out that I will be ordering to show all of you guys, and we'll do some good, cool comparisons between some new products that should be hitting the market here this year. So I can't wait to get my hands on them and show you what that's all about. I think I'm going to get loaded up, head back home for the day. I really do appreciate you hanging out with me for a few minutes here at the start of the new year. So I do hope you have a great rest of your day, a wonderful weekend, and an awesome 2025. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.